What is going on to you, crew? Welcome back to episode 57 of the Totally Unqualified podcast. We have a great episode planned for you guys today. We're going to be talking a little bit about the Pro Bowl that just happened, a little bit about some players that have gotten in trouble over the Pro Bowl weekend, as well as the crazy NBA trade deadline that is coming up sooner rather than later. And of course, we're going to be joined by the one, the only Ricardo Lewis of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Yeah, try saying that 5 times fast. But of course, I am joined with the two bestest, that's not a word, greatest, that is a word, co-host in the world, Jake Maltese, Gage Hall. How are we doing tonight, guys?
I am so excited for this episode. I'm ready to talk some football. Crazy shit happened today. I got a full tank. Let's go. Let's do this.
Woo!
I'm super excited too. I had a short work day today, so I'm energized and I'm ready to get it going.
Yeah, same here. And if you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to leave us a rating and review. It would be greatly appreciated, as well as YouTube. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, turn on post notifications, send it to your grandma. You know, all that jazz. We, of course, start off every episode with the Guess That Player. Are you guys ready? You guys can be asking me questions. I got them pulled up. We should put a time limit on these. What are you guys thinking? A 1 minute time limit? Okay.
Sure.
You know what? Let's add it on.
That's fine.
I got it.
1 minute.
1 minute.
I don't even know what the standings are.
You guys, yeah, neither do I. Nope. We'll figure it out one day.
We'll have Sped add him up at the end of the year. Yeah.
That's all that matters. That's all that matters. But I can't compete today. All right. When I say go, I will start the timer. You guys can rapid fire ask me questions. Ready, set, go.
AFC North.
He is not in the AFC North.
Currently playing.
Okay.
NFC.
Nope.
Ah, fuck.
AFC South.
AFC South.
Shit. Chris Conley.
Nope.
Damn it.
Jaguars.
Not the Jags.
Is it the Texans though?
It is the Texans.
All right, so I was on the right track. Who's on the Texans that's notable?
Skill position.
Okay.
Shit, so I was really on the right track there. Is it Brandon Cooks?
Nope.
Davis Mills.
It is not Davis Mills.
David Johnson.
Not David Johnson, no.
Duke.
All right, I got to be honest. He's not on the Texans. I fucked up. Really?
What? You had one job.
What are we doing?
Are you fucking kidding me?
I could have sworn this guy was on the Texans. I must have gotten traded this season.
people like when, oh my God. Okay. So this is such a simple premise. You need to just know, the team. Like,
okay. He's on the Dolphins. He's
on the Dolphins now. So it's Will Fuller.
Was on the Texans.
Is it Will Fuller? It's not Will Fuller.
Duke Johnson?
Nope.
Oh my God.
All right. I'm going to give you 15 seconds.
15 seconds? You fucked up.
After you
have a whole nother minute.
All right, I'll give you guys 30 seconds, okay?
Thank you.
Is it a receiver?
It's not a receiver.
Oh my God. So it's a running back that you thought was on the Texans, but he's on the Dolphins. It's not Myles Gaskin. Myles Gaskin?
Not Myles Gaskin.
Lamar Miller?
Not Lamar Miller.
Oh, that was a good game.
He went from Dolphins to
he
Texans
went the other way.
Yeah.
It's not it wouldn't be Devontae. It's not Jalen Waddle, is it?
It's not Jalen Waddle.
He's a rookie.
we're all out of the loop.
I don't know what's going on.
All right, 30 seconds. I'm gonna give you guys one last guess each.
Skill position on the Dolphins.
Mm-hmm. He was traded.
Skill. He was traded
mid-season.
He was traded. Skill position
from the Texans to the Dolphins.
Yes.
What? It's not. No, Will Fuller's been there for a while.
This is my bad. I didn't know about this. I thought he was still in the Texans.
I don't know.
You're gonna say this name, and I'll be like, I didn't even know this guy was still in the league.
I think this is the first did not finish in Totally Unqualified history.
I'm just gonna throw one out there.
Yeah.
You tell me, Alan Hearns.
That's not Alan Hearns. It is Phillip Lindsay, guys. Phillip Lindsay. I couldn't tell you if he was on the Dolphins or not. I had no idea. That's my.
I knew that actually. I totally forgot that though.
Yeah, I
remember Phillip Lindsay, 1,000-yard rusher, crazy story, undrafted, and then just has amounted to nothingness.
Yeah, Yeah. So that's rough.
NFL, not for long, baby. Not for
Not
long.
not for long. That's literally what Ricardo Lewis said. I shouldn't get to that. That's later in the show. Never mind.
Yeah.
All right.
That's a tease. It's a tease.
A little tease.
Anyways,
there.
Being that we're gonna start doing like only a minute or whatever, if the two other people don't get it, should the person that gives the player get the point?
But
Maybe
Luke doesn't deserve that point.
No,
Luke doesn't deserve that point.
I'm not saying this time, but I'm saying for the future.
One job. Just know the team. Just know the team.
All right, to be fair, he has a Texans uniform on his pro football.
All right, it's fair. That's a fair point. I'll accept it.
Okay.
I'll accept it.
You don't have to give me the point, but in the future. We'll play it that way. All right, getting into our first topic of the night. The Pro Bowl happened. That definitely did. That was a thing. With the AFC beating the NFC, Justin Herbert and Max Crosby were the offensive and defensive MVPs. Guys, the game was ass. Yeah. I didn't watch it. I don't believe any of you guys watched it.
That's not true. I did turn it on because of the Twitter notifications I was getting about how bad it was. I turned it on solely to see the atrocity that was going on in Las Vegas.
That's fair.
Yeah, I saw videos online. Definitely wouldn't call them highlights. I saw low lights on Twitter, I guess is basically the best way to put it.
Yeah.
I think
which was the whole game.
Of course. I think the highlight of the game was probably Mac Jones going for that 75-yarder hitting the gritty.
You know it's a bad game because Pro Bowls of the past have had like somewhat of highlights. Like it's a bad game when literally the only highlight circling the internet is Mac Jones doing the gritty in the end zone on a play that did not count because he got tackled like 40 yards before that.
Tackled. Yeah, sure.
Two-hand touch. Sorry.
Yeah. What? This was the lowest rated Pro Bowl since 2006. It only had just over 6 million viewers.
I can't imagine why.
Yeah. I mean, the skills showdown is what people watch. I even watched the skills showdown. I didn't have much going on, but I watched the skills showdown. Didn't watch the Pro Bowl. I'll tell you that.
A lot of people talk about like how to fix it, but for me personally, I would almost rather them just kind of do away with the game itself and lean more into like the skill showdown and stuff like that, like competitions among the players. You know, I feel like that would be more fun.
No, because the players are right, because they've been saying a lot of them are coming off of an injury. They don't want to get hurt. They don't want to lose out on millions. They just want to be done with the season because it's a long NFL season. They just want to go on vacation. Why would you want to play in a worthless game when it's not even in fucking Hawaii anymore?
Yeah.
No, it's not even Hawaii.
Yeah. And I want to see them do what the NHL does, which is stick with you're going to have your Pro Bowlers and you're going to have Pro Bowl alternates. But end it there. And then for the skills, what the NHL does is they'll still call people in who didn't make the All-Star game to compete in the skills showdown.
Yeah.
But they're not all-stars, but they're not officially all-stars. So because listen, I love Mac Jones. He had a great year. Mac Jones was not a Pro Bowler. I don't care. No. Guys, no. What do you throw? 17 touchdowns, 9 interceptions. I think that was the stat line.
Yeah.
That's not Pro Bowl caliber. Andy Dalton made it 4 years ago. Andy Dalton, I can tell you right now, Mitchell Trubisky made it 3 years ago. And this wasn't the 2018 season. This was the season after. And I'm telling you, he was not a Pro Bowler. Bar none, was not a Pro Bowler. So keep the Pro Bowl teams, have one set of alternates. And if those people can't play, they're not, then don't bring any other people in just to fill their spots. Just bring in people for the skill showdown that aren't necessarily Pro Bowlers, but that people want to watch.
Mm-hmm. Or pay them more. It's not like they're playing football anyway. They just all they have to do is just stand, go into the game for maybe 10 minutes, maybe, and then just sit your ass on the sideline for the rest of it.
Or literally just make it a flag football game. Don't put them in pads and shit. Just give them flags and have them go out there and play flag football.
I don't hate that.
I think that's good. And honestly, my argument is more painted towards the fact that the Pro Bowl has no bearing on somebody's success in the NFL. Nowadays, it's number one, it's a popularity contest. And number two, other than that, because most All-Star games are popularity contests, but other than that, it's a joke of a popularity contest. Because at least when Zaza Pachulia was getting voted in as the highest voted player in the West, like he wasn't actually sent to the All-Star game. If Mac Jones is getting voted as like one of the highest like vote getters in the Pro Bowl and you make him a Pro Bowl alternate, don't make him a Pro Bowl alternate. He's not a Pro Bowl. Like keep some level of dignity. Cause like we're to the point where Pro Bowl like is not even mentioned on your resume.
It means nothing.
unless you've been to like double digits, then okay. Then all right. Then you could throw it in there. But if it's stop it. Like Mac Jones should not be a Pro Bowler at this point in his career. He shouldn't be. Mitchell Trubisky should be a 0-time Pro Bowler. Maybe that year in 2018. Maybe he was an alternate that year. But other than that, like it's just shit like this. I want to see some dignity put back in the word Pro Bowler. Because right now there is zero. There's zero.
100% right. I do love that photo of Trubisky, Mahomes, and Deshaun Watson all at the Pro Bowl. It's one of my favorite pictures of all time. Just
one doesn't fit. One doesn't
literally
fit.
One
was taken higher than all
the others.
Yeah, and one was the highest one picked.
Oh man, what a miss! I will forever love that draft.
Oh man.
But moving on to some unfortunate news that came out of the Pro Bowl this weekend. Saints running back Alvin Kamara got charged. And I believe he got, I don't know what the word is, not arrested, but he got arrested, right?
Yeah, he was
arrested. Yeah, he got arrested for assault and battery resulting in significant bodily harm. Now, Gage, this is your guy. I'm going to let you start off with it.
I mean, I don't know, dude. I don't know what to think of it. Like, it sucks. Obviously, you never want players on your team to be in the news for this kind of stuff. And as far as where it could end up, apparently there's video evidence. I don't know how much that shows of Alvin Kamara doing things. I know that he's already admitted to punching the guy and stuff like that, as far as stomping his head and all that stuff that they're talking about that was done. I don't know how much of that he participated in, but it's definitely not a good look either way. He could be facing up to 5 years in prison, they're saying, which usually when these things kind of typically come out, stuff like that is most often on the higher side. So he could get a lesser punishment or something like that. But all in all, it's not a good look. And there's no positive whatsoever to come out of it.
Yeah. From the reports, they're saying that he basically punched and kicked this guy while he was already on the ground. They were still going, and the video does not look good. It apparently completely confirms what the victim.
Yeah,
it trended on Twitter. I wasn't able to see it, but it was.
I just looked it up. I didn't see it either. So basically, this might be another Ray Rice situation. Not as bad as Ray Rice, because obviously you should never touch a woman.
Athletes just got to stay the fuck away from elevators.
But seriously, honestly,
what's going on?
I know. Like, what the fuck? What is so? Listen. People have been annoying to me in an elevator sometimes. Never in my life have I punched them or kicked them or done I don't know. And the thing that was shocking, I was watching Pro Football Talk with Mike Florio and Chris Sims. And the thing that Chris Sims said kind of stuck out to me is like, Alvin Kamara doesn't even act this way on a field. Like he's never name a time Alvin Kamara has gotten heated on a field to the point where he got a personal foul. I can't name.
Well, he had some issues in college. If I remember,
freshman year, Texas, I believe it was his freshman year, and he never had it, and it never happened again.
Yeah, he was clean.
So, and it's never happened in the NFL. He's not even gotten heated and gotten into a personal altercation on an NFL football field that resulted in a penalty. So, this is just so out of the blue for Alvin Kamara. This is so unlike him. But it's inexcusable, especially if there's a video to back up, that basically shows that the victim is not exaggerating what, he said. It pretty much confirms everything. There is no reason that once somebody hits the ground, a punch is one thing. Okay. I'm not going to say that this guy deserved it, but sometimes people do deserve a punch based on what they say. Yeah.
Altercations happen, but
altercations happen. There's no reason to keep kicking somebody keep punching and kicking somebody while they're on the ground. That's just not, there's no reason to do that. So
it resulted in an orbital fracture of the guy.
Yeah. The guy basically almost died. That's what they're saying. So not good, not looking good for Alvin Kamara. He'll be in the NFL again, though. Let's be real. If Kareem Hunt is still in the NFL, Alvin Kamara will be back in the NFL.
Yeah. I got the hiccups at the worst time, guys. Jesus. Yeah. So I haven't seen the video. He got taken down off Twitter, but I've seen people's reactions to the video on Twitter, and they said, how can you like look at yourself in the mirror after doing something like that?
Yeah.
It's basically what I took away from some of those tweets. It's just another one of those things on a long list of just younger players in the NFL just getting in trouble and getting into altercations with others. I mean, we've seen it a lot this season specifically. I feel like more than past. You look at Nate Hobbs, you look at Henry Ruggs to a way further extent. You look at a guy like the Shazer Everett today, who just turned himself into the authorities obviously to a much more dangerous extent than what Alvin Kamara did. Yeah. But it's along the line of the same thing. They're all like grouped together, and it's unfortunate to see, to say the least. Alvin Kamara has been a great player since being drafted. And there's no doubt in my mind he's probably going to make a comeback. But like I said, it's just an unfortunate thing. Can't really speak on it because I haven't seen what actually happened. I'm only going off of reports, but I don't know. If you're an athlete, just stay out of the clubs. Stay out of the clubs if you're an athlete. That's simple as that. I mean, if problems are going to arise.
Remove yourself from those situations. And even on the flip side of that, if you're a fan or just a person out and about, don't harass athletes. I'm not saying that's necessarily what happened here because I don't know, but I'm saying in general there are those situations. Leave them the fuck alone.
Yeah.
100%.
You're never gonna keep athletes out of the club. Like that's like it's never gonna happen. They have fine. Like a lot of these guys grew up poor. They finally have money in their pockets. They want to go, hang out.
And they're young.
They want to go hang out in the club with their friends and get a corner table and
for sure
get some drinks and stuff, which is fine. But just like understand, like make sure you're putting the right people around you who are not gonna who are gonna if you're in an altercation, pull you the fuck away from it. Be like, no. You tens of millions of dollars if you punch that man right there, bam, out the window. Like, remember that. Like, just know your career is on the line with everything you do. You're a professional athlete. Camera's constantly on you. Like, you need to surround yourself with the people that will check you. If you ever, if you have a few drinks and you get a little angry, like, hey, it's not worth it. Just tap you on the shoulder. Like, let's go. And that's the number one thing. Then again, I'm not a professional athlete, and who the hell is going to listen to me? So
what was interesting though is it happened the day before the Pro Bowl. So he still played in the Pro Bowl. Yeah.
It happened Saturday evening, I guess, and the
Saturday morning. It says 6 a.m. Saturday morning.
Oh, was it Saturday morning? My bad. The police were called to the hospital after the victim got there, and they got the whole report and everything then. And they didn't arrest him until Sunday evening. So I don't know, but yeah.
Well, I guess there's a lot to come out of that situation. I'm sure we're going to be updated in the coming weeks. All right. And moving on from that, guys, let me tell you a little bit about the Overtime app. We had a great fantasy pool for the Pro Bowl, and we're having another great fantasy pool, an even better one for the Super Bowl this weekend. You have the chance to win yourself a $300 SeatGeek gift card. That means basketball tickets. That means you could save it up for NFL tickets next season. That means concert tickets. That means tickets to anything you want for free, $300 worth. That is going to be the prize for this week's Overtime fantasy pool. Make sure to download the Overtime app using any of the links in our bios and join the pool. It will be opening up on Friday, I believe. So stay tuned for more. But we haven't talked basketball in a little bit, guys, but the NBA trade deadline is soon approaching, and there's been some crazy trades already that happened today. CJ McCollum was dealt from the Blazers to the Pelicans. Now the Pelicans have a new big three, and also the Pacers made a huge trade with the Kings. We're going to get to that in a second, but let's talk a little bit about the Blazers trade. It was CJ McCollum, Larry Nance Jr., and Tony Snell to the Pelicans in exchange for Josh Hart, Tomas Satoransky, and a couple of other players. Now, Gage, I'm going to start with you. What does this mean for the Blazers, and what does this mean for the Pelicans?
So from what I've been hearing, the Blazers' intent with this trade is to basically clear house of everything but Damian Lillard and then try to rebuild around him and bring whatever they can in. But it's like, you've done a really shitty job of that up to this point. You have not done well with that whatsoever. So getting rid of arguably your next best player after, well, maybe not next best, but CJ McCollum is up there. He's still a great player. You know what I mean? So to deal him away and then try to bring in other guys, like Josh Hart is a great player as well, but bringing him in that place, I just don't know about that. So I think really the Blazers are still headed in the wrong direction. I don't have faith in them even after this. I think that they need to deal Lillard away and then just go ahead into a rebuilding period. I think that's really the only way out of this right now.
I believe there's a team in New York that could use a point guard. They're escaping my mind. Might be the Brooklyn they're escaping my mind.
A guy to play in the games that Kyrie can't. I'm following.
Yeah, that exactly. But yeah, so I wouldn't say the Blazers did a terrible job building around Damian Lillard. I mean, they did get to the Western Conference Finals a couple years ago, and they put up like how many games did they win in that series? Did they get swept by the Warriors?
I think they got swept.
Okay, so all right, but they got there. They got
able to get over the hump. Yeah, they haven't been a horrible team. I didn't want to make it. I didn't want to frame it that way, but they just haven't been able to fix it.
Yes, and listen, we're in an era where like I'm legitimately starting to get worried about markets like Portland, like Indiana, and we'll talk about Indiana later, and like these small market teams, because we're in the era of super teams. We all know that. But like super teams aren't forming in the Midwest. They're not like, okay, like Milwaukee, they drafted they traded for Chris Middleton early in his career before he was an all-star. They drafted Giannis Antetokounmpo, and then that player can like when you have, a Hall of Famer like Giannis, yes, okay, then you could attract some talent. But like other than that, like I wouldn't put Dame will attract talent, but Dame's not Giannis. Dame is not a generational talent that's going to attract players like that. Like LeBron attracted superstars to Cleveland because he's fucking LeBron. But there's no like Darius Garland. I love Darius Garland's a hell of a player. Evan Mobley, hell of a player. They're not attracting superstars to Cleveland. That's not who they are. So I'm like legitimately, I know people like this super team era, and I'll get over this point in a second. I'm just scared for the small market teams because I'm worried that you're going to draft a superstar and they're going to leave immediately. Like they're going to leave after rookie contracts is over to go and build a super team in a big media market. And that's going to kind of dilute the small market teams, which sucks to see. But anyway, about the trade, I do think it's time for a rebuild in Portland. It's clearly not going to work. Good for Dame. I do want to say good for Dame for staying in Portland, like for being like, no. I want to build a championship contender here. Cause a lot of superstars don't do that, especially in a market like Portland, like I just said, so good for him for saying that. But then again, don't know how well it's going to work out in his favor, but I don't know.
Say earlier this season that he's not willing to stick around for a rebuild.
Yeah. Did he say that?
He said that if they're headed toward a rebuild, that he doesn't know that he's
okay. I feel like
do that.
Yeah.
Him and Aaron Rodgers, the same guy. There's my one Aaron Rodgers comment for the night. One Aaron Rodgers comment for the night.
He got it in. He slipped it in there.
Yeah.
But listen, so I don't know how much longer Dame is gonna stick around there if he does see the direction that they're going in. But in terms of the Pelicans, I don't know how much of a big three it is if Zion can't even get on the floor, but Brandon Ingram, CJ McCollum, and they've been playing well already. Like they're going to win some games.
They have some, they have some decent players.
They got some talent. They definitely got some talent there. They'll be a 6 seed.
Yeah. I was just about to say they give me 6 seed vibes if Zion gets healthy, but that's just knows it.
But that's the thing. It's all on Zion's health. But yeah, listen, I think this is a great trade if you're the Pelicans. And if you're the Blazers, does this set up like, I know everything I just said, but now that I didn't know that Damian Lillard said that, I thought he said he wanted to stay in Portland.
I remember earlier in the season, he said, I believe it was when he first got injured, he said that if we're going to head toward a rebuild, that he doesn't know if he's going to be willing to stick around for that, like a full rebuild.
Maybe I'm thinking of a quote from a while ago, but I thought he said he wanted to build a championship contender in Portland. But so it's if you're a Trailblazers fan, obviously, like it's kind of doom and gloom for the future of your franchise. A rebuild is not a totally bad thing, though. It gives you hope for the future. I would say it's worse to have a team that you have expectations for, that you just know, like, okay, this is the final product. And you look at the final product and be like, that's not good enough. It's not good enough. Like, you tried and you failed. So listen, you got some hope there. Pelicans, they're on the right track. It's all about Zion getting on the floor now. But I thought this would be the most exciting trade of the day. Definitely not.
Yeah,
definitely not. We're going to get to that in a little bit.
No, I think this is setting up for an eventual Damian Lillard trade, whether that's this season, whether it's in the off season. I mean, obviously his injury is going to play a factor in that as well, but there's no way you could stay on this team. There's no way you could stick on this team anymore. I understand you. It's honorable to stay with the team that brought you in the first place and winning with that team and not going to a super team and not going to a different market. That's an honorable thing to do. You see guys like Giannis and Chris Middleton, like the entire Bucks team, other than like Drew Holiday, but like you've seen them getting that honor of sticking with the team, sticking with your guns, and eventually paying off. But I don't think Damian Lillard could do that. And I think we've been saying that for far too long now. I would love a trade to the Knicks personally. I want that to happen. I want that to happen for you, Jake. I want that to happen for all of my New York Knicks fans. Please. I got into a debate with some of my buddies that it'd have to include RJ, a trade like that. I don't necessarily think though. I feel like you could package
Julius Randle. Sure.
I feel like Julius, I think you could package either D Rose or Kemba, probably Kemba. And either IQ, Cam Reddish, and Mitch Robinson, or a combination of two of those guys.
Yeah.
Which might as well throw Cam Reddish in there because Tom Thibodeau isn't using him anyway. So, I mean, it's not even like he's important to the team. So
don't even get me started on Tom Thibodeau right now, dude. How like it? He won over. He did what a coach couldn't do for so long. He won over the Knicks fan base last year. Coach of the year. Doing everything right, couldn't make a mistake.
180.
Knicks fans had his back in some questionable decisions, and now it's just like, you don't want Cam Reddish. What the fuck's wrong with you? You don't
doesn't make sense. No, doesn't make sense.
Like, you don't want talent. Like,
he doesn't like the young guys. He hates the young guys.
Yeah, you know I guess like he won't play Obi, but Obi's been playing great in the time.
I think that you made a great point earlier, Jake, about the super team thing, because it does very, very much feel like there's this separation between big markets and small markets, where big markets just have players fall into their lap because they want to be there and they want to come and play with certain players and stuff like that. Whereas like the smaller markets really have to build it from the ground up. And it's tough. And the Bucks showed that it can be done, but it definitely feels like they have this more difficult path. And I don't know how you fix that. You know what I mean? I don't know what direction you head from there, because it's not like it's just going to suddenly change.
Yeah, it's the whole premise of the movie Moneyball, my all-time favorite movie. Great movie.
Exactly. Yeah.
If you watch it, it's the same thing. Like, how do you it's Billy Beane being like, there's the Yankees, the Red Sox, everybody else, 30 pounds of shit. And then there's us. That's how it feels to be a small market team in the NBA right now. Like NFL, there's really not a small market team in the NFL, like with the media coverage that it gets nowadays. Like, yes, you could be small market, but if you're good, you'll get plenty of media coverage. But it's just like, I'm so worried. I'm so worried for the state of small market teams, because the NBA I truly believe the NBA is better when talent is dispersed. Like, I really feel that way.
Yeah. And I mean, even as a fan of a small market team myself in the Hornets, like we drafted LaMelo. We drafted Miles Bridges, who's been huge for us. Terry Rozier wanted out of Boston, so that's how we managed to get him. And then even Gordon Hayward, at this point in his career, he was kind of looked at as damaged goods when we picked him up. Yeah. So it's like we're dealing with
another injury now.
Yeah, they're saying that he has torn ligaments in his left ankle or something, which fantastic. But yeah, it's a struggle. Basically, you have to kind of grab those guys where you can, rather than them just wanting to come to Charlotte.
Yeah. That's tough for these small market teams out here. And speaking of small market team, guys, did you know that since 2007, the Sacramento Kings have consistently been the worst franchise in all of sports, with 0 playoff appearances, 0 winning seasons, a 457 and 792 overall record. For those of you at home that can't do math, that's 36% win percentage, and 15 first-round draft picks, with only 1 turning out to be an all-star, also 10 head coaches in that time. So it makes sense that they would trade possibly one of the best. Tyrese Halliburton, one of the best young players in the league. The league has the offer. So basically, the Indiana Pacers got a steal. They traded Domantas Sabonis and Jeremy Lamb and Justin Holiday to the Sacramento Kings for Tyrese Halliburton, Buddy Hield, and Tristan Thompson. I thought this was a horrible trade for the Kings. I thought the Pacers got really good compensation. Gage, what did you think?
Robbed them.
Did you say me or Jake?
Yeah, Gage.
Oh, okay. Sorry. I definitely agree. To give the people at home, if you're more of an NFL fan and you don't really watch the NBA, the Kings are like if the Lions took a shit, that would be the Kings pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it doesn't make any sense to me. Tyrese Halliburton only in his second year now, and they're trading him away. And he has looked like one of the best young players in the league up to this point. And you got Buddy Hield, who is still a decent player as well. The Tristan Thompson move makes me feel like they're kind of on par with like trying to move Miles Turner potentially by picking up another big man. So I don't know. There's a lot that comes along with this. I like Domantas Sabonis, but I don't know that he's a big enough, piece to want to bring in or to want to get rid of the guys that they got rid of. So I don't like this trade for the Kings whatsoever, but what else is new?
Yeah.
What are the chances? So De'Aaron Fox is injured right now, right? Is he? I think he is. I just looked up. He hasn't been playing lately, but so he's injured right now. But listen, Domantas Sabonis is a really good player. Like I'm going to approach this first from a King. If you're one of the 12 Kings fans out there, I'm going to approach this. I don't know. I don't know how you grow up in California and end up a Kings fan. I'm sorry for the capital of the state, Sacramento.
Real quick, De'Aaron Fox has missed the past 5 games with an ankle injury.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So he'll probably be back. Ankle injuries aren't, whatever. He'll probably be back soon. But listen, there's a chance that, that backcourt combo of Tyrese and De'Aaron Fox wasn't working out how you wanted it to. And, maybe that, you get the point guard and you get the 4 combo between, maybe like a Stockton Malone type of thing going on. And I'm giving you that's not going to happen. Like you're not going to finals like Stockton Malone, but it could, along those lines of combos that we've seen work in the past. But De'Aaron Fox and Domantas Sabonis is really a player. That's really impressive that the Lions have made playoff appearances before the Kings still. Even the Lions got it right a couple times. Like they got Calvin Johnson, they got Matt Stafford, and you guys can't even come on. They need to leave Sacramento.
They're also one of those small market teams that we were referring to.
Yeah, so. And they need to leave Sacramento. Like they can't.
And they need to leave the NBA.
I'm sorry. Yeah, probably. Honestly.
They're playing the wrong sport.
But Indiana completely robbed the Kings in this one. I love this move for the Pacers. You get your starting point guard in Tyrese Halliburton, who's again somebody the Knicks could have had, but we're not gonna approach that. But you get your starting point guard. You get who else do they get in this? So they got Buddy Hield
and Tristan Thompson.
Okay. Buddy Hield, again, really great. He can hit shots from the outside. He's a really good sixth man. You can actually, he's a good starter if you want to start him at the 2, but no, they have Brogdon right still. So they'll start him at the 2, I believe.
I think Brogdon might be on the way out.
At this trade deadline on the way out too.
Yeah. It's
every starter for the Pacers could be on their way out right now.
Yeah.
Okay. But listen, good move by them to this trade. Yes, Buddy Hield and Tristan Thompson were thrown in. This trade was for Tyrese Halliburton. It was for Tyrese Halliburton. So this is completely the Pacers, and the Pacers have always been a well-run organization. I really like how they approach things like this. They got Oladipo for cheap. They got Sabonis for they had to trade away Paul George, but they got Sabonis in the Paul George trade, and they've always seen the future before it's come to light, before it's come to fruition. So they knew they're like, okay, we built a good team here with Brogdon, Sabonis. They've worked out well, but it's not getting us anywhere. We need to get younger. And they've always been good at executing those trades because Sabonis was young when he came in. Oladipo was still a guy that had proven something in Orlando, but didn't really get a shot, got injured. He had a great run there in Indiana. And so I really like how the Indiana Pacers are run. much better than the Knicks. But
Mm-hmm.
this is great for the Pacers organization. You get this very, very young point guard. Was he 20? He's got to be like 20, 19,
21.
20, 21. Okay, so he's 21. 21-year-old point guard, all the potential in the world. And you got your guy to build around. So good. And Miles Turner, if they keep Miles Turner, are they going to keep Miles Turner too? Or are they blowing that up too?
I'd say he's probably
Don't
gone.
know.
I think there's a big
wanna
market
move
for Miles
everybody.
Turner right now.
Okay. All right. So they probably have their eyes on some other young pieces that they want to bring in and trade away these older prospects. So I think the Pacers are doing it right. They see that their team that they built wasn't going to do anything, even though they accumulated some good talent. And they saw it's their time to get younger, and I think they're doing it in a good way. And I think this is the right way to do it. So they definitely robbed the Kings in my opinion, because the Kings have just gotten older. The Kings went nowhere with this trade. Yeah, they got a good 4, but what? You're not going anywhere.
Exactly.
Dude.
Yeah.
Like why
not
do
really
this?
getting better.
Yeah, you're not getting better at all. Like if you're gonna bomb, like yes, Marvin Bagley didn't work out. I don't know how you ruined Marvin Bagley. Marvin Bagley, Duke players don't just like flop like that. So I don't know how the fuck.
He's a better rapper now.
Yeah. So whatever. Marvin Bagley, they fucked that up. But listen, you hit on De'Aaron Fox. Try to build around him. But dude, they got to get out of Sacramento. Yeah. I think they need a complete rebrand. They need a complete blow up. They need to just move to a different city, Kansas City or something, and just try again. Just try to rebuild the franchise. They haven't been good since Chris Webber. They're
the butt of all jokes, and not even just like basketball wise, just like sports wise. Like, and that's how you know. That's how you know it's bad. I think this is we're going towards a full Pacers rebuild. I think they are going to get off some of their older players like a Miles Turner, which actually I think the Toronto Raptors might be in the market for. Who knows? Probably not. But I think this was a great first step. You look at a guy in Tyrese Halliburton, who was in conversations for Rookie of the Year. He was one of the best rookies last year in 2020. And this is a guy that's giving you 34 minutes a night as a year 2 player. I mean, 7 assists, and he's shooting at 45% a clip, and he's hitting it from 40% from 3. So this guy is projected to be one of the better scorers in the league for many years to come. And honestly, this is when you look at where the Pacers are now and where they want to be in the future, I thought this was a great move. You're getting ahead of the curve. Obviously, there was rumors even from last season that they were going to blow it up with Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner and all these other players. And this is the first big step for them. I thought it was insane compensation to get Tyrese Halliburton. I could have sworn that it was going to be De'Aaron Fox that got traded instead of Halliburton. It just made sense. Halliburton is the younger player, and honestly, he's the better player. To be fair, it was very surprising.
Honestly,
Fox could still go, but it's like
I feel like both of these teams are heading toward rebuild.
Yeah, but the thing is, for Fox, like you're not even going to sell fucking tickets without him. I mean, you get rid of De'Aaron Fox. Have fun selling like half your stadium, let alone like I don't even know, a quarter of it. As for the Kings, I mean, yes, they got they gave up Buddy Hield, so is the Pacers. Yeah, Buddy Hield needs to get mentioned more as well. He's 3-point champ, obviously. He's a great shooter. The Lakers wish they could have been, in getting him instead of Russell Westbrook. But as for the Kings, I mean, Domantas Sabonis, I'm not going to act like Domantas Sabonis is just the worst compensation, because he's not. He's a perennial all-star esque player. Didn't make it this year, but he's projected to be one of the better big men for years to come. It's not like they got horrible compensation for it, but when you look at giving up Tyrese Halliburton, like I saw this on my phone, I was like, what the hell? Why are they giving up Halliburton? And yeah, so it was rough for the Kings to say the least, as it always is, but I guess we're going to see whether or not the Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox can work out. Maybe they can have a little 1-2 combo there. I doubt it, but I guess we'll see.
Apparently, I don't know why I did this to myself, but I looked up Knicks trade rumors just to see what's going on. That I shouldn't have. Knicks reportedly interested. This was an hour ago. Knicks reportedly interested in trading for this NBA champion. Can you guess what the NBA champion is? Harrison Barnes. Yep. Harrison Barnes. They're interested in trading.
Harrison Barnes got to go soon.
Barnes. Why? Out of everybody, and that's who you're interested in. They were reportedly. This is how it goes. I've given up hope. I've given up hope as a Knicks fan every year. It's like it was reported yesterday they might trade for CJ McCollum. That didn't happen. It was reported they might trade for De'Aaron Fox. Now that they traded Halliburton, that's probably not going to happen. Yeah. Like, I don't even know what to do with this team anymore. They need a point guard. Like, I love Quickly. I love Kemba. Kemba, it's not worked out. I'm sorry, Kemba. Yes, homecoming and everything. I wanted it to work out. You're not the player you were. I'm sorry. You just you don't fit in with this team. Just build around RJ. RJ is a superstar this year. He's been so good. He's dropping 30 points the last couple of games. He is finally coming out of his shell. By the way, fuck all the Knicks fans that wanted to trade him after his rookie year because they're impatient. We waited 20 years for a winning team, and you guys can't wait 2 for him to develop a little bit. Are you fucking serious? Stop. But yeah, he's finally becoming a superstar that we knew he could be. And just blow it up. I love what Julius did. Okay. Yes. He brought excitement. He brought the playoffs back to the Garden. Thank you. Goodbye. Ariana Grande. Thank you. Next. Okay. Can we just move on, please? Just get some young talent. Yeah. Good. Good.
He requested a trade.
Get out of here.
He requested one.
Yeah. Did he request one officially?
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Yeah. Okay. But Julius Randle is a nice trade piece right now. So if we fuck this up, I swear to God, I'm done with this team. I'm done watching basketball.
Listen, and you gotta clear room for when Zion comes. Think of this.
I don't want Zion.
We're on the verge of a Zion RJ Dame big three.
I don't want Zion. I don't want Zion. He can't stay healthy.
Zion and Dame?
I think both.
Damn.
I think both.
Listen, they've said this for how long? How many years have been saying?
How many superstars
have been projecting to come in the next? Oh, LeBron might come. Oh, KD and Kyrie, they're going to team up.
Hey, if they get Bronny, LeBron's coming.
I don't want to. Maybe I want a 40-year-old LeBron. I don't know. I don't know at this point.
A 40-year-old LeBron might be the best player in Knicks history.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
No,
you got an argument there. Yeah.
Based on their win percentage when LeBron is on the field, the Lakers are legit a top 10 team in the league. I mean, as far as just when he's on the court to when he's not, it's just a huge difference. It's insane.
I haven't been watching that much basketball this year, mostly because I watched a ton last year because the Knicks were good and I was finally interested in it. But this year, the Knicks are just they're. It's not that they're bad because they've always been bad in my lifetime, but they finally had expectations and now they're just disappointing. And they didn't improve. Yeah. I've never had to face disappointment with the Knicks.
No, I feel like they did improve.
Failure.
I feel like they improved as a team. They just took a step back. And that's what makes it even crazier.
And I don't know why. They lost nobody. They kept everybody. Everybody was the same. They got rid of Reggie Bullock. You're going to tell me Reggie Bullock was the glue holding this team together? No. Are you fucking kidding me?
I think they got better with Fournier. RJ got better.
I do kind of feel like they overpaid Fournier though.
They did, but it's the Knicks. They can afford to overpay some people. So it's I don't know. It comes down to consistency because in the games I have played, Julius Randle should not be. He's too ball dominant right now. I was okay with it last year because he was hitting his shots and he earned every game. He earned the ability to be
step
ball
back
dominant.
is one of the best moves ever.
Exactly. But this year he's had good games. He had a couple good games, but he's not hitting enough of his shots this year to consistently be as ball dominant as he is. Because he was so good last year, at hitting step backs like that. Hitting that mid-range, the mid-range jumpers were unstoppable with Julius Randle last year.
And I feel like the Knicks have a toxic organization just in the first place. Sorry, I don't mean to be mean, but it's true. It's true. And with the fan base, the hardcore fans, if you go into a season you haven't had a winning season since 2013. You finally make the playoffs. You have high as hell expectations and you come out and perform like this. It's going to make the whole thing for Julius Randle volatile and make him want to leave now because the fans are booing him. Fans are booing him. And we all know how New York fans get. They had high expectations for them. He got their hopes up and now it's become a whole another toxic thing where Julius Randle wants out. And I don't blame him. Obviously he's not playing up to his potential, but I mean, I don't know. This whole team is a mess. This whole franchise is a mess, top to bottom. except for RJ Barrett.
RJ is a stud, man. And Obi Toppin gets
Toppin
no minutes.
Yep.
He gets no minutes. I'll look at the ESPN stat. Like I'll look on the ESPN app, like about the stat sheets or whatever. And every time that like I check, it's like Obi Toppin, 8 minutes, 10 points. I'm like, why the fuck? What 8 minutes? And he got 10 points and we're not playing him more? Are you fucking kidding me?
Yep.
And then he got like one start this year and he put up like 6 points. And I'm like, fuck. Now Tom Thibodeau's really not going to play him more. It's like, fuck, you had one
step
chance
forward and 2 steps back.
Yeah, exactly. Tibbs, Tibbs is a great coach for a team like we had last year where everything is firing on all cylinders. And when things are going well, the harshness of Tibbs and how much he demands of you is great. It works out great. When things are like not going well, Tibbs is an asshole because he's a harsh coach. He's a harsh coach, but he's going to get your best if you buy in. And the team last year bought in. They bought into everything Tibbs was doing, and it paid off for them. This year, they started out 5-1. They were the number 1 seed in the East for like a while there.
Yeah,
like when the season started. This seems like 10 years ago at this point. Like when I was excited about how the Knicks started out, I was like, holy shit, we got even better from last year. We beat the Hawks on opening night. Bing bong was going around. Like everything was.
I don't hear any bing bongs anymore.
No.
Bing bong's dead. Dead and gone.
Bing bong at the Rangers game, but that's thank God for the Rangers. Jesus Christ, I'd be like literally suicidal at this point if it wasn't for the Rangers. But it's I don't know what to say about this because I don't know what I feel like Julius Randle needs to go because it's a problem when the presumed leader of your team, because everybody looked to Julius Randle as the leader of the team. I think that's what's causing it. I think the fact that he's unhappy, he demanded a trade, he's not playing up to his potential. You know, he's kind of toxic right now. He's a toxic presence in that locker room right now because he's not happy. And I think that's kind of trickling through the organization. I think if we get rid of Julius Randle, we move on from Kemba Walker, I think things will get better.
Yeah, let the younger guys take over. Let the young guys take over because those are your best players and your best.
Mitchell Robinson's been awesome this year. Mitchell Robinson, RJ Barrett's been awesome. If Julius is gone, then Obi gets more minutes, and Obi's been great this year. Like he's shown significant signs of improvement. IQ has been awesome off the bench. Like I think this team has a promising future. Still, I think this can still be salvaged, but I think just the unhappiness of Julius Randle is, and also the unhappiness of Kemba Walker is trickling through the organization. I don't think it's the fact that that's not working out is kind of ruining the team. Yeah. So
they just got to get a legit point guard.
Yeah. No, they do. They do. I love IQ, but he's not starting caliber yet.
The Knicks are like when you have a Rubik's Cube and you're trying to solve it and you've got like 2 sides that just aren't quite complete. You've got them just a little bit fucked up. Yeah. If you just do a few more twists, I think you'll be fine, but it's just about figuring out what those twists need to be.
And you're ready to just mess.
What a fucking analogy.
That's
what a fucking analogy.
Because when that happened to me, when I still to this day, I've never solved a Rubik's Cube. I can't do it. I won't look up the algorithms on YouTube. I don't care that much.
Fuck all that.
But like when I used to get to those points where I'd solve like one side or two, I'd be so tempted to just fuck it up and start over again. That's what it feels like with the Knicks this season. It's like we're so close.
Pull it up again and start over.
Yeah, it's like we've so many great pieces, but I'm already so pissed off that I'm ready to just blow it up again and build around RJ. But we can't do that. We're so close. I do think that we get rid of Kemba, we get rid of Julius. I think everything will work itself out. The fans will be calmed down a little bit, and I think we'll be better. But maybe not in the standings, but I think we'll be the culture will be better in the building right now.
Yeah,
let's hope the NBA is better when the Knicks are better. So
even if this season is a little bit too far gone for the Knicks, I think if you make those moves, you're at a better jumping off point to go into next season.
Yeah.
All right, and wrapping up with all the NBA stuff, we have a great guest for you, Ricardo Lewis of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. All right, guys, and we are now joined by the one, the only Ricardo Lewis, former Browns player, current Saskatchewan Roughrider. Ricardo, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
Doing great. Now that you're on the pod, it makes it even better, right?
Thanks. Yeah, that's what's up.
Yeah. So, Ricardo, we're going to start this off getting into a little bit about your college days. So, growing up, raised in Miami, what went into your decision-making to play at Auburn, even though you got offers from a bunch of Miami-based colleges or Florida-based colleges?
Yeah, man. I think it just came down to me wanting to get out of the city and experience new things. And I remember my first time leaving Miami and traveling and going through like Orlando all the way up to North Carolina and Tennessee and eventually Auburn. It was just a different feel, and my decision ultimately came down to choosing a school that I could see myself living for about 4 years. I'm like, can I see myself living for 4 years? The environment was cool. The school was great. The team was great, and just it just came down to me being comfortable there and being a place where I can remain focused because, being down here in Miami, there's a lot of distractions and stuff like that. So getting away was always my intention in going to college.
Okay, so you wanted to really like hone in on your craft and get better, obviously, right?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Gotcha. And then obviously your time at Auburn was fantastic. And everybody knows you for that one fantastic moment, the catch itself against Georgia to send you guys to the college football playoff. So talk us through that a little bit real quick, just your thought process. I mean, before, during, and after that play and what that was like.
Yeah, so, man, I tell a story almost every year, at least twice a year, just like how it got to, where it's at now. And I just remember like going through the season and it was my first year really playing receiver. It was my first year really like honing in on my craft as a receiver. I was mostly a quarterback and a running back in high school. And I came into Auburn my freshman year and I was like a wildcat receiver kind of guy. But my second year was really when I really started to play and I started to learn it more. And, as the season went on, it was difficult at times because I wasn't really the best receiver. I was probably the best athlete physically wise, but as far as like the receiver position, I wasn't really I didn't really have my craft 100% down yet. I was still, trying to find myself. I was really, so the season was pretty tough. And then I just remember praying every night, like, man, please God, let me do something great. Please, let me make a great play. And I just kept praying every night. And then before it happened, like I wasn't even supposed to be in the game at that time. It was fourth quarter. We were down, and you could sense it in the crowd that it was just, it's over, man. Our season's over. It was fun while it lasted, but it's over. And I didn't really have that feeling, honestly. I just felt like, we could still win the game. So my coach decided to put me in. So I got in the huddle, and I remember just the coach calling the play, and I looked at Nick, which was our quarterback at the time, and I told him, hey, look, throw me the ball. And everybody kind of like, what? And Nick was like, but Nick was the only person that was like, I guess at that time, he was probably looking for somebody to say something like that because he done everything he possibly could that game to get us to that point. So he's looking for somebody has to make a play at that point, right? So he's looked at me, he was like, all right, got you. So we kind of like, had that moment. And as we ran out to the field, he's running out. He's a little bit ahead of me, and I'm behind him. So I had to run past him to get to my, to my spot. And I tell him again, I'm like, hey, Nick, throw it. And I just go line up. And I remember looking at the defense, and I'm like, oh, this is going to be impossible. Because the route I had to go deep was the deep post. And I'm like, oh, man, there's already two guys back there. They're going to pretty much be waiting if the ball is thrown. So, but I didn't really let that, I still in my mind was like, I'm going to jump for it and come down with it.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to make the play regardless. I don't know how, but this is happening. Like, it's happening. Yeah. So I run down there and he throws the ball. It's a little bit overthrown. And I just remember putting my head back down to try to catch up to it. And once I looked up again, the ball is already pretty much coming down and it gets tipped up. And I don't know, a lot of people always ask me, like, why'd you keep running? Like, how did you know to keep running? How did you, and just like, I can't really tell you why. I feel like it was just fate and it was just meant to happen. But I just remember in that split second when I looked up for the ball, I always tell this memory like that I had as a child. We used to play this game called Throw 'em Up, Bust 'em Up. And like, we'd be a group of guys, you throw the ball up, whoever catches it, they have to, tackle them. And I was always the smart one. Not always, but sometimes I'll be smart because these guys will be fighting each other. They forget about the ball, and the ball will just end up somewhere else and not in their hands. And I always be the one to kind of be there and catch it, kind of watching them see what they do and then catch it and running and they never tackle me. So I had that flashback at that moment, and I just looked up and I just remember catching the ball, seeing the ball come down, catching it, and I'm like, wow, like this is the same thing I kind of felt when I was a child. And I run into the end zone, and in that moment, everything was pretty much silent. And then once I got to the end zone, and I realized that like, wow, I actually caught it. I just scored. Oh wow! And then the crowd is kind of what woke me up out of that flashback, like the noise that's the loudest I've ever heard Jordan Hare Stadium, you know. And I mean, that pretty much changed everything.
Yeah,
you know, it changed my life in a way, you know. So that's pretty much what led up to that play happening.
Yeah, and it's moments like that awesome. where stars are made. And like you said, you weren't even supposed to be in the game. It's not about who's in the game; it's about who's going to make a play. And you were that guy for them. And obviously, they had trust in you to make that play. Now, going past college, just tell us a little bit about what the NFL Combine was like. Obviously, you posted the best among qualified receivers, best broad jump with 11 feet. So, what was the Combine like? What was the whole experience like?
The Combine was very fun, man. It was long leading up to the actual Combine itself, as far as meetings and physicals and doctors and having different kind of tests being done. You know, other than that, man, just the experience itself and just being amongst a lot of players around the nation and just being around a lot of the best players in itself was very encouraging for me, just knowing that I'm there. And I've been dreaming to get to that point, you know, pretty much my whole life. I remember sitting in college in my dorm, you know, watching guys going to the Combine and then eventually getting drafted into, you know, these NFL teams. And, you know, just being there, I was just like, wow, like I'm really here. But I also knew that I was on a mission as well. So I was having fun. I was like excited. But at the same time, I was like kind of like had a John Wick mindset. I'm like, I'm here to perform. I'm on a mission. I got to make sure these teams like me. I got to make sure I look good. I got to, you know, put myself in a position to get drafted and to make it to the league. And that's exactly what I did, you know, and I'm grateful for the opportunity to have gone to the Combine and eventually getting drafted. So that whole experience in itself at the Combine was definitely something I can look back and say I'm proud, you know, that I was able to do, because a lot of guys don't really have the opportunity. They, you know, either have to go to the pro, not the pro, but they have the pro day at the school, or you know, they have like little workouts on the side and teams kind of evaluate them then. But it's also very fun to be able to be in an environment like the NFL Combine.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. And for a lot of guys, I mean, that's something where they can show what a lot of people already know about them. But for other guys, it's where they go and they prove themselves and they show NFL teams that they're more ready than maybe they thought they were to begin with. And you could absolutely say that you were one of those guys. Yeah, and that led to you obviously getting drafted by the Browns, 4th round, pick 114. So if you wouldn't mind, if you would walk us through that a little bit as well, we'd love to hear the draft process and what that was like for you being a day 2 guy and all that stuff.
Yeah. So just the process was if I can remember correctly, it was a little nerve-wracking because I just didn't know what to expect. You know, you hear rumors and people telling you could go here, could go there. But it was just, it was surreal when I first got the call. Well, actually, the first call I got was on the first day from the Dallas Cowboys. And I'm like, there's no way I'm getting drafted. And like, are they serious and calling me? Like, what? I was kind of got excited, but they just called me to tell me, just stay by your phone. We're probably going to end up picking you up in one of these rounds and, you know, stuff like that. Then the Baltimore Ravens called the same day, but nothing happened. Then the second day, I just remember having my family over. I'm like, this got to be the day. So I, you know, told my family, come over. But everybody didn't really expect it to happen as quick as it did, you know, during that day, because I told them a certain time for them to come. But some people were late, so they missed it. But just me sitting there watching and like getting that call and seeing my name on the screen, it's just everything I had dreamed of, you know. And I always knew I would be able to do something like that, just because like I pretty much dedicated everything that I had in me to make it up to that point, you know. And after it happened, got the call, talked to the GM, the head coach at the time, with some other guys, and they were like, I forgot what they asked me. They asked me a question. I was like, man, it's about time you guys called me. Waiting. Everybody was laughing. Like after, you know, just I had a couple more interviews after that, with some radio stations and stuff like that. And it's like, so what now? Like, what do I do now? I mean, I did it, So after that day, the next day, started planning with the team for travel. I think they sent a playbook before I left. They sent a playbook with my number and like all this cool stuff, some gear. And just after that time, when I finally got a chance to get on the flight to go there, I was really nervous. It was like, wow, like this is a whole another step. It's my first time. I didn't really have any friends that were already in the NFL, so I didn't really have any good advice, honestly, from anybody. I just kind of like, took what I knew and ran with it, packed my bag, and I was gone.
So that's got to be a crazy feeling, because when you hear your name get drafted on draft day, that's everything that you've been working for your whole life. I mean, obviously there's more work to be done, but that's got to be an insane feeling. So what are some of the biggest differences between, playing at Auburn and then playing for the Browns? Like the biggest differences between college football and the NFL, like the atmosphere or the environment? What's the differences between those two?
Well, there's a lot. Well, I'll say this for future reference for anybody, any young, kids who are listening, that, in college, you can be a guy on scholarship and you may not be the best, but you may be playing. And, there'll be times where you kind of like are not playing well, or you do some things that, doesn't really help the team win. But you'll still be able to be there the next day and then the week after that and the month after that. And you'll still be able to be on a team, and pretty much, I guess, have an opportunity to correct your mistakes while you're still on the team, while you're still on scholarship. And in some ways, you kind of have your hand held by the coaching staff and just the organization itself as far as school. Pretty much have some people guiding you through the steps and, some people there to kind of help you and stuff like that. And it's the same way in the league, but it's the only difference with that is when you get to the league is, it's really, you're on your own. It's a dog-eat-dog world. It's cutthroat. And if you're not doing, what you should be doing as a professional, you won't last long. If you're not putting your best foot forward on a daily basis, you won't last long. Every day's an interview. So, I mean, for me, my rookie year, I think we were probably the youngest team in the NFL at that time. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think we were actually the youngest team. And when we came in, it's probably like four veterans as far as receiver wise. We had like 3 or 4 veterans, and they were there for about maybe 2 months by the time we got there. And then after that, they let them go. Only one guy stayed, which is Andrew Hawkins. And, we kind of learned the game from him. We learned how to be professionals from him. But, young mindset, we thinking like, we want to be better than him. Like I know I'm better than you. That was kind of my mindset at the time, So having that veteran guidance is always going to be good. You want to be on a team that has the guys that want to pick you up and show you the ropes and help you become a professional. But there is also a competition as well. You also compete for their spot. You're trying to take you're actually there to take their spot. So they're going to help you to a certain extent, but at the end of the day, you got to really be focused on what you need to do to make sure you're successful. Because like I said, every day is an interview and they're always watching. Everything you do, they're watching, So I learned that from Auburn. I learned some of the professional habits at Auburn, which is why I love going there. I miss Auburn. I miss the coaching staff. But there's a lot of differences in that regard of being a professional and just being a student athlete. You're becoming a man. You're in the process of becoming a man as well as becoming a professional athlete early on in your career. So there's a lot of different things you learn. So I mean, I learned very quickly. Just going through the process of preparing for games and preparing for practices. And I mean, there's another thing because you practice how you play, and they take practice very serious in training camp and the whole nine. It's just the game is much faster. You're playing against guys who've been perfecting their craft for over 6, 7, 8, 10 years. So you have to really put your best foot forward every chance you get because you can either make a play and it change your life, or you don't make a play and then, you just not where you thought you would be. So fortunately for me, I got a chance to, play and get a chance to show the world that it's possible for you to come from where I come from and to make it to the league.
100%. Yeah. And that's a great accomplishment in itself, because there's very few people that actually make it that far.
Yeah.
But as a rookie, obviously, like you just explained, it's a totally different world when you're coming straight out of college. So when you see guys today, like Justin Jefferson last year, or like Jamar Chase on the Bengals this year, for us, obviously we see them as fans and we're like, those guys are doing really well. For you as a receiver who's been there yourself, what does their season or like their debut look like to you? Does that feel different, or is it like, wow, those guys are doing crazy stuff? Excuse me.
Yeah, sorry. So, watching them is like, it's one of those generational talents. Like, you come in and for me, just watching, like, you could tell they're very, very hungry, and a lot of their skill sets, you can see that it carried over from college into the league. There were probably some fundamental things that they may have picked up along the way in college that allowed them to have an easy transition. It's a common trait when you're talking about receiver, any other position, transferring from college, transitioning from college to the NFL. A lot of the guys that you see that have a huge jump in their first year and just take off and go crazy and have phenomenal seasons are guys who have, obviously they're physically talented. You have to have a certain mental fortitude to be able to have that level of play in the NFL, but also just the fundamentals that you pretty much master throughout your time in college leading up to the NFL, which will put you ahead of a lot of guys that may be your counterparts in the draft and in the combine and all that. So I think for me watching them is I see a lot of things that they do well that, for me coming in, it was a little different for me because, like I said, my first year really playing receiver was my sophomore year. Then I continued to get better and better. But I feel like for me, the difference in that regard was at Auburn, we ran the ball a lot. So when it came 100%. To running a lot of different routes, it wasn't really our thing. We ran routes, and there was routes that I could run really well, but at the same time, it's different when you run the ball 70% of the time and you run a route to run somebody off or you're blocking or stuff like that. So I come from a running background. Like, I probably could have played running back in the NFL if I really, said, hey, I'm going to do that, because I had the ball in my hand 90% of the time as growing up. The same thing in college as well. But, after my first year in the NFL, I was like, all right, what do I need to work on? How do I get better? Because I was raw. I was like, there's so many things I didn't know how to do. I was just not even close to watching like Jamar Chase, and I was not even close at that point. Yeah. But what I did was I set a goal for myself. I said, I want to be a number one guy. I want to start and I want to play it. I want to, So I went home in the off season. I probably took like a week and a half off, and I got to work. I went to Dallas and trained with a guy named D-Rock for a month, and he exposed all of my weaknesses. Like, he sat there and like I would do something and like I'm thinking I'm doing it good. I'm thinking I'm like, I just killed that. I watch it on film. That's the first time I actually filmed a training session. And I'm watching myself. I'm like, damn, I didn't look that bad. I'm really getting exposed, so I felt embarrassed in a way, but I also felt like, I know I can get right.
Yeah.
I know I can get
like
right.
It was needed.
Yeah, it was definitely needed for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just showing you like how much I didn't know. Like, I knew I didn't know. That's why I was there. At the same time, like, damn, like, it's just crazy. So after that month, everything that I was not good at, I need to work on. I went home and I worked on it every single day. I would get up. I'll get up at 11 because I would go to sleep so late from training. But I'll get up at 11 and start training like 12:30, and from 12:30 to 4:30 to 5. Just all day, just like, because that's how bad like I felt knowing that I didn't look as good as I thought I was,
Mm-hmm.
and realizing how far behind I was. Like, it literally took me 2 months every single day training, running routes and working on the drills that he taught me. And that put me at a different level going into my second year. I was able to, to start and be considered the number one guy, even though our team wasn't good. And I'm sure you guys see the news swirling around these head coaches and Hugh Jackson. And, it's crazy, but at the end of the day, like, I mean, it was fun. I got a chance to actually say I'm a starter and playing, and I just wish that it would have went different in our seasons. But just the overall experience and getting a chance to play was all a blessing in itself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And I think a lot of kids are going to be looking up to like Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, the way that you might have looked up to some other wide receivers. So who were those wide receivers? Who were those NFL players that you sort of envisioned yourself as or looked up to growing up?
Oh, man. I don't. I think a lot of the times, whenever I would think about that, who do I want to model my game after, who I like watching, I would always find myself watching Des Bryant for some reason.
Really?
Like,
Okay.
now I don't now because I'm like, I don't know why or even before, like a couple years ago, I still didn't really watch him as much. But in college, I used to watch Des Bryant a lot. I used to watch him. Obviously, I watched Jerry Rice and all the GOATs. A lot of my second year, I really watched a lot of Randy Moss. But coming in, it was always Des Bryant. It was always Des Bryant when I was, coming out of college.
Yeah, go up contested catch guy, had sticky hands, like it was crazy. He dropped that ball in Green Bay though. I don't know how you feel about that, but
listen, it's still up for debate right now, man.
For sure.
It's still up for debate.
So there's one more thing I want to get to before we get to our wrap it up question. And that is, what is your ultimate goal? Like, what is the one thing that you're looking toward right now, or the thing that you have your mind set to?
Oh man, that's a great question. That's an awesome question. Oh, is it like a question like for my life in general, or like sports, or?
I mean, just anything you're looking toward, just you specifically, whether it's a short-term goal or a long-term goal, whether it's you are something regarding your football career or your life as a whole, just whatever you want to give us as far as like what your goal is or the thing that you want to reach.
All right. Well, so I would say that as far as sports and just everything I've been through, all my experiences, I would say my ultimate goal now at this point is to show, other athletes, younger athletes who may still be in college or who are entering their first year into the NFL, that you can be more than just an athlete. I think a lot of times we get so focused and locked in, this is not bad at all. It's a good thing, for you to be really focused on what you love to do and, why you're doing it, so there's nothing wrong with that. But just where I'm 27 now, and it's been 6 years since, my pro career. So I've learned a lot. I've seen a lot. I've experienced a lot. And just knowing that, like, the NFL is not for long. For some people it may be, which is good, but even though if it's long for you, you still want to be able to have something outside of football that kind of keeps you grounded, keeps you happy, keeps you, I guess excited about just waking up the next day, because football
100%.
is going to be over at some point. And when it's over, you want to be able to still do something that'll give you joy, give you life. For me, that's art. Business wise, is real estate. I love real estate. I've been doing it for a while, but for the most part, it's art. And the reason why I say it's art is because there'll be times where you'll have your lows in football, and it may affect your mental health in a way. And you want to be able to find a way, if you don't have anybody to talk to, you don't have anything to do, you don't know how to express it, you want to have something that you can do that'll allow for you to deal with your mental health in a way that it doesn't affect you on the field or it doesn't affect you in your relationships in life and businesses and stuff like that. So for me,
a healthy
like
outlet.
I said, a healthy outlet. And for me, it was always art. I found myself after a few injuries in a tough spot, in a tough place mentally. I never thought I'd be where I ended up mentally, but that's just where tough times and lows in life can take you. And for me, I realized like I need to find something that I love to do, because if football gets taken away, and that's what I love to do for many years, and I can't do it. So how else can I release my emotions? How else can I show my love? What else can I do to have that outlet? And it took me a while to figure it out, and I just ended up finding myself buying some paint, some canvases, and sitting in my room for hours at a time, painting and just got my mind off of everything that was making me feel sad, feel mad, and, making me at a bad place mentally, So, for guys, that's my ultimate goal. And I'm doing a lot with it now. I'm building it to a point where it's gonna be big, it's gonna be major, and real estate as well. That's a whole nother topic. But what I'm doing now it's all geared towards that specifically, and that's everything more than an athlete. So that's pretty much my ultimate goal, is just to show athletes and young athletes now that you can still be yourself. You can still be you, whoever you were before football, whoever you were before people started to know you, whatever you do outside of football, you can still be that person and still have joy and still have, a fun life, an exciting life, and still be happy.
Yeah, and I think that's fantastic. I mean, I'm a huge advocate for mental health myself. I've been to those lows, and a big part of what I want for this podcast is to spread those kind of messages. So for you to come on and say those things, I think is, one, very brave to admit that you've been to those spots, but to put that message out there, I mean, I really appreciate that.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah, that was very well said. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like a lot of these, especially like these younger players in the NFL, they think that football is everything. Like everything, obviously, was everything that they were working towards, but there is life after football. There is things that you have to do outside of football, because like you said, football, NFL stands for not for long as much as it does for National Football League. So, I think that was really well said. Now for the question that a lot of our audience is all waiting for: the Super Bowl this weekend, the Bengals, the Rams. What is your prediction? And what do you think is going to happen in this game?
For me, I always tell people, whenever you're trying to figure out, who's going to win, who's going to lose, you always have to come and ask yourself, what defense would I rather have on the field when the game is on the line? And when it comes to that, when it comes to you making that decision, you got to really think, like, all right, so which defense is going to make a play when I need them to? Because both offenses are great.
Yeah.
Both. And I know you guys seen the last game with the 49ers and the Rams, where it could have ended when Matthew threw he threw the ball down the middle of the field, and I guess the safety, he dropped the ball. He dropped it, and that could have had a different outcome. The game could have had a different outcome if you would have made that play. Yeah. So if the same thing would have happened with a different team, will that person make the play? Because that'll change the whole game. So I mean, I don't want to make any decisions now. I'm just giving my perspective on how I analyze games and how I analyze teams, who's going to win. But I'll just say, if I had to choose, I'll say the Rams. The Rams. Yeah.
Gotcha.
So, what do you guys think?
I'm going with the Rams too. I think home field, although it's not really home field advantage because they make it a neutral site, I think that's going to play a big role into it. And I feel like this is an Aaron Donald legacy game. I really do. I think if he wants to cement himself as one of the greatest of all time, I feel like he's in that conversation already. But if he wants to be mentioned in the names like Lawrence Taylor and in that conversation, I think he's going to have a big game and maybe even win Super Bowl MVP. Who knows?
Yeah, true.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same boat. I mean, I love the Bengals. I love the team that they've put together, but I think that the Rams are, with that experience, you know what I mean? It goes a long way, and I think that they'll come out on top as well.
Yeah.
I will say
it's a new era. It's also a new era, though. You
sure.
see all the guys retiring, Tom Brady and
Yeah, it's
you know,
crazy.
so all the new guys are here.
It is. We were just talking about that last week. It's kind of crazy to see this transition of generations. So
it couldn't be more clear than it is now. I mean,
for sure.
It's
I mean,
amazing.
Joe Burrow in the Super Bowl in his second year. Who would have thought? Who would have thought?
That's amazing.
It's exciting.
That's amazing.
Yeah. All right. Well, that about wraps it up for us, Ricardo. Thank you so much for coming on. We really appreciate it. That was awesome.
Man, thanks for having me.
Yeah, of course.
Thanks so much, man.
Yeah.
You have a great night.
Yeah.
You
Take
too.
care.
Thank you.
And once again, we just want to thank Ricardo Lewis for coming on. He was an amazing guest. He had some really good, just like mindset life, just quotes in there. And it was awesome to think about, awesome to talk to him. But with that said, that's going to wrap up episode 57 of the Totally Unqualified podcast. If you're listening to us on Apple Podcasts or Spotify, make sure to leave us a rating and review. It would be greatly appreciated. And if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to like, subscribe, comment, do all that awesome jazz. So yeah, do you guys want to wrap up with anything? Jake, I'll let you go.
Yeah, guys, make sure to follow us on all our social medias. You got Luke, who's Football Fan Zone, Gage's Extra Points. I'm, of course, Jake Maltese 3. And make sure to follow all of our Totally Unqualified accounts. We got TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, you name it, we got it. And you can see, if you do enjoy these podcasts, which we hope you do, you can see some more content. You can follow us more than just twice a week. So we hope you do that.
Yeah, absolutely. And we can't harp on the Overtime app enough. It is a fantastic app. And if you've made it this far, then it would just mean so much to us if you would support us by going to one of the links in our bios and by joining the Overtime app there, not just for our sake, but also for your sake, because we are giving away a $300 SeatGeek gift card. I mean, $300.
Do you want to go watch the Knicks? Do you want to go watch the Knicks lose?
No.
Like, come on.
No,
Who would want to go get like
I don't.
really expensive tickets in MSG?
But yeah, you have an absolutely amazing chance to win that. So I highly recommend joining, and we'll see you in the next one.